Today, I am so excited to be able to welcome to you the exquisite Deva Premal. Hi, Deva.
Hello, beloved. I was so shy to sing until the mantras came back into my life. Suddenly, I could sing alone and I could sing in front of even audiences.
What kinds of effects do people have from different mantras?
Humming and chanting mantra activates the vagus nerve, which is the longest nerve that runs through the whole body. And it's like this one string, and it tunes that string to a vibration that is beneficial. For me, the biggest gift of the mantras is the silence they bring is so alive and enjoyable. Let's just close our eyes. And this is a nice moment to just do a little checkup in the body. How do I feel?
So powerful. That's 2 minutes. Everything that's all out there just seems to come right here. I understand why you live in bliss. You are not meant to struggle. You are meant to live in the miracle zone. I'm Marci Shimoff. I'm a #1 New York Times bestselling author and the founder of Your Year of Miracles. And after decades of exploring the true source of happiness and success, I found one thing, and that is when you align with the energy of miracles, life flows with joy and grace. So welcome to Living in the Miracle Zone. And today I am so excited and just heartwarmed to be able to welcome to you one of my favorite people on the entire planet, and that is the exquisite Deva Premal. Hi, Deva.
Hello, beloved favorite people.
Oh, I love you. This is just a great excuse for us to get to hang out together. And so I know we're going to have a great conversation, as we always do. So let me tell people a little bit about you in case there are people here who haven't heard of you. So Deva Premal is an internationally renowned mantra singer whose life has been shaped by music and meditation and spiritual practice from the very beginning. And she'll tell you a little bit about that. She was raised by artistically gifted parents who immersed her in classical music and Eastern philosophy and Sanskrit mantras. And Deva later followed her spiritual calling to India, where she deepened her studies and she met her beloved, her musical partner and life partner and incredibly exquisite human being, Miten. And together, Deva and Miten have shared the power of mantra with audiences around the world. They've released more than 25 albums. They've earned a Grammy nomination, and they've inspired millions of people through their unique blend of ancient sacred chants and contemporary music. And I will tell you that if you ever come to my house for a visit, you are going to hear Deva and Miten playing throughout the house, because that is what's always playing. And I just adore you. Deva and Miten have been dear friends since we met almost 20 years ago, actually. We've traveled some parts of the world together. We've been on safari together. We just were in Peru together in the Sacred Valley. And anywhere that Deva is that I get to be, I say yes to, because truly, Deva, you are an angel on the planet.
Takes one to recognize one.
Well, so Deva, I always like to start by hearing how it is that people have come to live a miraculous life. And I know you've had quite a story. Maybe share with us some of the highlights of how it is that you live this amazing way. You truly live more in flow than about anybody I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's still incredible to me. It's still hard to believe. And right now I'm in Costa Rica, and maybe you just heard the howler monkey that's there on the tree. And that I find myself living here in this paradise with the ocean, steps away, and being surrounded by all these beautiful trees with my beloved after 35 years being together and being really on a honeymoon kind of vibe for 35 years. It's a miracle to me, and I don't think there's anything that I could say how I made, manifested this or created this or even deserved this, of course. I mean, it's just such a blessing and such a miracle, like a miracle. It is it's such a gift. And it's beyond my dreams. I always say if I had to manifest my life, I wouldn't have been able to even have the imagination to have it so beautiful. And it would have, it's and the flow has I always feel like the flow is the connection to the divine. When you feel like you are, and you can feel it. You can it's like feeling it in your body when you push, or when you go with where the energy goes. And really, like, the flow has brought us here to Costa Rica, which we could never expected after 30 years of traveling the world with the music and not even longing for a home. And then we find ourselves living here for the last 6 years in this house that has manifested around us, which is built. I always feel like it's built from music. All the money that has come to create this house has come through our music. And how did that happen? And so it's I just don't have any advice or any kind of secret key, or oh, you do this and then that happens. I'm in awe, and I'm in wonder, and I'm in deep gratitude, and yeah, I just feel actually quite speechless about this.
Well, and I have to say that, first of all, your home, where you are, where you live, is exquisitely beautiful. It is paradise. But the fact is that I've seen you in so many situations, and you come with awe and gratitude. So while in some ways it may seem like, well, it's a mystery and it's beyond what you had hoped for, you really do live from the heart. You live aligned, I believe, with spirit, which is part of what living in the miracle zone is about. And there's a purity in you that I think you've probably always had. And not a purity in a obligatory purity, kind of a religious way, but a consciousness purity. And I just wonder, I know you're incredibly humble, but can you reflect on what pieces of that you feel like you bring regularly that might in fact contribute?
I mean, there must have been some I don't know, genetic disposition or past life karma or something that led to me having grown up in a household where already the direction and the direction of focus was on meditation, on being aware. Like, I grew up with a very eccentric artistic father who was spiritually very, very dedicated and thorough and disciplined. And he had me say Om each time I put something on a table, or Ram each time I put on the light. So as a little child, that's the exercises he gave me to bring sacredness into mundane activities, or maybe to help me remember the moment, not space out, but be present. And that's normal. That was normal for me. That's how I grew up. That's just, I actually knew that I was normal when I saw my classmates and how they were growing up. But the idea of reincarnation, even though it was in Germany, the idea of reincarnation is just a given to me. It's just something, of course, that's how it is. So karma, what you reap, what you sow, you all these things are just, they just went in, and they set me on a path where somehow the sense of being connected to the great spirit or the bigger picture, however you want to call it, was always the focus, and not, really outward success or who you are in the world. Like my parents never had this thing like what you dropping out of school, which I did temporarily, but they said you have all the colors to paint your life. They really wanted me to be living my calling, following my inner voice. And I'm just really lucky that I never needed to go the other way. I never needed to kind of rebel against this. My father predicted it. He said, you're gonna get like super material one day because because the pendulum will swing. Kind of, that's what he thought would happen, but it didn't happen. I was somehow, it just felt like more like a flower opening or a tree growing from the same root more and more. And then meeting Miten, who I met when I was 20, and I never thought it would last that long and be that enjoyable and fresh, and yeah, just alive and inspired and creative.
To be around the two of you is just heaven. Sergio and I, one of the courses that you taught is for couples, and we took one of your couples courses, and just to see the two of you so just in love after 35 years. And you're very different. I mean, he's considerably older, and he's a different type of personality than you are. And yet you both bring this appreciation for life, for each other, and certainly for music. And it's just, there's an energy of bliss around you. And I think anybody just even listening to you right now can feel there's a transmission of bliss that you carry. And what do you think, what role does music have in that? And then I'll later talk about mantra itself and what mantra does.
So through my father's upbringing, I was already introduced into mantra from early on, like from before birth, because my father felt like, oh, the Gayatri Mantra is the most powerful mantra. Let's give this to my daughters as they are in the womb, and let's start their lives with this mantra, and let's sing with them every night before sleeping 3 times this mantra that will help them to pray for all beings on the planet to be living in the light or enlightenment of all beings. As I didn't know what I was singing, I was just doing this with my parents every night.
But before you were born, your father would sing to you in the womb the Gayatri Mantra.
Yeah.
So in the womb, you're hearing that mantra, which is, maybe you could just speak for people that don't know what the Gayatri Mantra is and what it does.
So it's really known as the oldest mantra, according to the scriptures, and it's beautiful because it's a mantra that invokes the light. So it's very universal. I think even in the Western, where we are in the West, we all relate to the light. Maybe we don't relate to Ganesh, who has the form of an elephant, or Hanuman has the form of a monkey, and those kind of Hindu deities. But the light is something everybody wants to be in the light, or most of us want to be in the light, or receive and bathe in the light. And this is the literal translation of the mantra: is we meditate upon this adorable source of all things. This divine light of pure consciousness awakens us, or inspires us, energizes us. That's the translation. There's myriads of translations, but that's the one I can relate to. And so it's a mantra that has been chanted all over India for centuries, and has landed in my life not knowing that that's what it was. I didn't know it was the oldest mantra and what it was called, and I didn't really know what it meant. So as a child, I would just sing it just because of my parents, invitation to do that with me, and that's what I noticed. Now sharing this mantra, I sang it until I was maybe 10 years old, and I realized I had a choice not to, and I stopped and let it be forgotten, kind of dormant. And only when I was 27, it came back into my life, and I realized it had been growing inside of me, even though I hadn't sung it or chanted it. And then I realized, oh my God, there's other people who know this, mantra. It's a little bit absurd, but that's really how it was. And since then, since we've been sharing it, Miten and I have been sharing this Gayatri Mantra, all over the world, and for the last, what is it now, 30 years, I realize this touches people if they have any connection to mantra or not, if they have any connection to India or not. There's something in the magic of these words, the sound frequency, that is really it's beyond religion, it's beyond race, it's beyond belief. It's sound medicine, like we don't have to believe that aspirin will take a headache away, or, of course, there is a placebo. Also, when the intention is stronger, it will even be stronger. But I've heard it so many times that people were just somehow confronted or invited to the mantra in unexpected ways, like maybe it was played to them during a massage, or they heard it in a yoga class, or even outside of yoga class, not knowing that it's a mantra. And some spark often happens, in some transformation, or the beginning of some transformation happens. So the mantra, I'm just going to sing it the way I sang it as a child.
Let's get to hear you sing it.
Which is more like the reciting version, more the way my father taught me. Bhurvasva tatsavitur varenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi Deo yona prachodayat. Om Bhurvhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Deo yona prachodayat. And on and on and on.
And I have to say that when I needed to learn the Gayatri Mantra, I first went to India 27 years ago, and I was told that I needed to learn the Gayatri Mantra, and I was struggling with learning it. And then a friend of mine said, "Oh, listen to Deva Premal's Gayatri Mantra." And I listened over and over and over again, and that was my first exposure to Gayatri Mantra. I learned it to your voice.
I didn't know that.
And for anybody who's ever been in a yoga class, you've heard Deva's music, you've heard her mantra, Deva Miten. And it's just, I could listen to that for hours. And so what kinds of effects do people have from different mantras? And why does it help them live more in the miracle zone? Is it just the vibration?
Yeah, I feel like they tune us. We are an instrument, and even on a scientific level, humming and chanting mantra activates the vagus nerve, which is the longest nerve that runs through the whole body. And I feel like it's like this one string that runs through the body, like we are an ektara, this instrument with a one string, and it tunes that string to a vibration that is beneficial and that is the right, that has the beautiful frequency, oscillation, waves, and for that reason we chant over and over the same mantra, because we need often a little longer to vibrate into that rhythm. I mean, there's so many aspects to it. One is the mere fact that already when we sing and chant and use our voice, we vibrate our whole body and all our cells, and there's a very beneficial, healthy effect just from that, just by singing, And then to sing with the intention of inviting silence into our lives, because that's really the biggest, for me, the biggest gift of the mantras is that the silence they bring is so irresistible and alive and enjoyable. And it's not a forced silence. It's not a tense silence. It's like a silence we can just relax in and bathe in and just drink in, and it happens, you're not making it, it happens. And I feel often that mantra and chanting is like a shortcut to that silence. We get to that when we maybe meditate after 1 hour or something, maybe it happens. But for me, it's quite immediate with the singing and chanting. It's like even just 3 times the mantra Om, already there's a silence that wasn't there before. So they're very, very accessible, because really just as mantra Om, I don't think anybody could say, I've forgotten the mantra Om. How did it go? Like it's just, like it's a mantra that we can all benefit from and just have to remember in the right time. 3 times the mantra Om on an out breath, going all the way to the end of the breath, making sure that there's enough breath also for the sound. You'll feel recalibrated. You'll feel different, in times of stress or overwhelm. In the night, that's what I like to try to fall asleep with. Just the mantra Om on my lips and then in my mind.
So are you saying if somebody's having a hard time going to sleep, if they were to chant out loud Om 3 times and then just have it in their heart, that would help them perhaps sleep?
I feel it's a cleansing. It cleanses the mind from the thoughts that go around, from the day that has just passed, or from what's going to happen tomorrow, and it focuses us in a very clean vibration.
Can I do it with you 3 times?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I will not say it out loud. I will let you lead, and I'll just do it silently.
And just like I said, it really does consist out of the 2 sounds, the O and the sound, and they're both equally important. And there is a sense of with the O, we are actually, the whole sound is Aum. So with that Aum, we are inviting the light to come into our bodies. And with the sound, I feel like we are letting it percolate in our bodies and cleanse our bodies and vibrate the inner structures of our bodies. So those 2 sounds, and then with a big breath, and then letting it go all the way to the end of the breath. So we have a very long out breath, which in itself is also very, very therapeutic and relaxing. So let's just close our eyes, and this is a nice moment to just do a little checkup in the body. How do I feel? Little seeing what we can relax consciously, and also seeing what is not relaxed, and that's totally fine. Maybe if there's some pain anywhere or tension, we can just say, okay, that's what's there right now. I can feel that. I see you, I hear you. And then let's take a deep breath. Deep breath. And the deep breath. Just give ourselves some moments with closed eyes, because that's the moment of meditation, of feeling the inner peace. Mm. Do you feel it? Or you maybe didn't do it yourself, but it's amazing that the
So powerful. That's 2 minutes.
Mm.
And everything that's all out there scattered just seems to come right here and settle down.
Mm.
I mean, no wonder you live in bliss.
I mean, I understand why you live in bliss.
I mean, we do this before eating. Actually, we do 3 times Om. And if you don't feel comfortable with Om, Amen is the same, comes from the same root, has the same sounds that create that effect. So that could be, another alternative to Om, whatever you resonate with. Or
And you do chants in all different languages. I've heard you do English chants. I've heard you do African chants. You do chants Hebrew and all different languages. And I think that Sanskrit, of course, has it's the oldest language, they say, and it's got such power. But all of it done with that kind of intention, it really does help people, I think, reset and live in the vibration that is that miracle zone vibration. And it's, to me, interesting because you did not set out to be a Grammy-nominated musician. Your life has unfolded in a magical way. I mean, you met Miten, and he was the one that I think brought you into the music. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I never set out to be a musician, period.
I mean, listen to this voice. She has the voice of an angel, and she never intended to be a musician, but life led you to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe tell a little of that story.
Yeah, just being in India after finishing school, and there was a fleeting thought of, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I had a boyfriend that I could travel with and be creative with and be with all the time. And it just manifested that way, that we were in an ashram where music was a big part of the meditation practices. Music was always around, and it was always music that would either lead to celebration or to meditation. It was never entertainment. And Miten was the music coordinator, so he was providing the music for those meditations, and we found each other, even though we still have the 23-year age difference, which was a little difficult for him at first to get his head around, but it didn't matter in the long run. And through him being, through the connection together, and me just wanting to be with him and sing with him, I said, can you listen to my voice? Maybe there's some connection, maybe there's some potential. And he didn't hear it at first, but then a few months later, I thought maybe there's something. And so I just enjoyed being with him, and also that was my apprenticeship, which is to create music in that environment of meditation, and to put a sound into a place where there's 2,000 people sitting in meditation, and you put a sound into that space. It's very delicate, because people are open and they are sitting in silence and they have their eyes closed, and you put a sound into their field, and you want to make sure that sound doesn't pull them out of meditation or disturb them or pull energy towards you, like, oh, how great am I as a musician? You're just in service to the congregation and to the meditation. And that's where I learned from Miten basically everything I know. And that's what we then also went out to share. So after 2 years in ashram together, we felt like let's see what we can share of these gifts in the West. And can you hear the music? Should I turn it off, or you don't hear?
No, I can't hear.
And so we just went out in our little Mitsubishi bus, and went around the meditation centers and shared what we had learned in ashram. And we always just did what felt right, basically. We never had a 5-year plan. We had no kind of business plan. We just really did year after year. What do we want to do next year and things? And we always said yes. And even if, there was some, in like bookings or something that wouldn't make sense financially or would not, where you think that's a little crazy, we would usually say yes, and something would lead to something else, and keep growing and always just. I remember one time after a few years, we had no money, and I was worried about it, and we had taken a loan because we needed equipment. So we had this debt for all this equipment, and I was feeling burdened. And I said to Miten, what do you think? Like, is this a sign that we shouldn't be doing this? Or is this something to overcome, like a challenge to overcome? What do you think? And he said, as long as you're having a beautiful time, you're doing the right thing. Very simple.
As long as you're having a beautiful time, you're doing the right thing.
And I totally was having a great time. It was having the time of my life, which I still have. So I thought, okay, that's easy. Let's keep going, because it was all in the head in the moment. We had what we needed. We had food, we had shelter, we had actually everything we needed was just in my mind, all the debts and what if, and So, yeah.
It's such a beautiful example of following your heart, living in joy, putting yourself, I talk about living in the miracle zone, is you can't create miracles. Miracles are a gift of the divine. But you can put yourself into the flow of miracles. And that's what you have done with your life. You live in this state of grace. And it's from the heart being full. It's from, I talked earlier about the purity that you have. And that's what I mean. It's a purity of following the highest calling for you and alignment. Who knew that it would lead you to sold out theaters, thousands of people, to the Grammys? That wasn't what you intended. It was just you followed what the divine had in store for you.
Yeah, I know. I sometimes ask myself, like, what is my motivation with the mantras, or what's the driving force? And it's actually love, because I don't come from the Pandit kind of view, Hinduism, scriptures. I'm not a philosopher. I somehow can't get my head around scriptures, and what I love is the love and the connection that it creates, and the sense that we can all come together to chant the mantras. That's really my joy. It's my way to live love and to share love, and that's really that's the root. Yeah.
And it is what your name means.
Yeah, it means
Ren
divine
is love.
Yeah, divine love.
Divine love.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
Deva
I'm
Premal is
working
the
on that.
perfect name for you.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Oh, you're doing very, very well, I would say.
Progress.
And so I just have to tell everybody, if you've never seen Deva and Miten in concert, it is a must. And if you've seen them in concert, and so you want to go back as quickly as possible. And they continue to be on tour throughout the world. You were just in South America. You'll be in Europe. You'll be back in North America soon, I hope.
Next year, that's the plan.
And people can come see you in Costa Rica. You do these wonderful retreats there. And just this energy of love that you exude and that you create around you in an atmosphere is what this whole world needs. It's medicine. It's the antidote from what the world is experiencing now, is exactly what you're doing. And I know that as we do mantra, as we chant, as we listen to your music throughout my home all day long, it helps live more and more in that state of love, even in the midst of whatever's going on around us. Yeah. So do you have any last minute words or message for us?
Yeah, I just that sing your own song. You know, Miten has a song, sing your own song, and it's such a kind of cliche, or it's kind of like, oh, of course, but often it's the most, not the most difficult thing, but it's like, personally for me, I was so shy to sing until the mantras came back into my life, and the Gayatri Mantra came back into my life, and then suddenly I could sing alone, and I could sing in front of even audiences alone. Before, I was always kind of hiding behind Miten or supporting him. And the Gayatri Mantra felt like so easy. It felt like, yeah, of course, I can do that. I can sing this. And then the mind comes in and says, oh, it's so easy. There can't be anything worse. I haven't struggled for it. I haven't strived for it. And so I feel like my message is, you know, things that come easy to us, that are our gifts, let's not kind of disregard them as nothing, because that's unique, you know, that's why you're gifted with it, and share it and enjoy it and appreciate it. And so sing your own song.
Sing your own song and allow it to be okay to be in ease and flow rather than struggle. Yeah, and grace. Well, Deva, as always, it's just fabulous to get to be with you. And I want to let everybody know how to find out more about you and about your work. And they can go to devapremalmiten.com, and we'll put that in the show notes. And I always end with a quote. Today's quote is from you, Deva. Mantras are passwords that transform the mundane into the sacred. And I love you. I love getting to be with you. Thank you for transforming every moment that I get to be with you into the sacred. And this time that we've all had together, you've transformed into the sacred for us. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
And I want to thank everybody here for joining us, because I know that if you are drawn to this conversation and this experience today, that it wasn't by accident. There was something in you that is ready to live more in the miracle zone. And so if this episode touched your heart, if you're feeling inspired, then please share this with someone you love. And also remember that you can download your free gift from us, which is our ebook called Manifest a Life of Miracles, 4 Steps to Living in the Miracle Zone. You can get that at themiraclezonebook.com. And finally, I just invite us all to remember this. Miracles are not reserved for the lucky few. They are meant for each of us. They are meant for you. So I'm sending you so much love. Until next time.